Good afternoon and welcome to our August 25th, 2025 meeting of the City of Tuscaloosa Zoning Board of Adjustments. Now, any written comments that were sent to the staff were forwarded to the board directly. I'd like to take the time to introduce our staff and members. Chad Hobbs, Senior Associate City Attorney. Hudson Cheshire, Associate City Attorney. Jonathan Bowen, Zoning Administrator. Liam O'Leary, Planner. Kevin Jones, helping out with video in the back. And I ask that the board members introduce themselves, starting to my left.
Mary Catherine Holt.
Tim Gillum.
Michelle Coley.
Paul Rollins Jr.
Now, the purpose of the Zoning Board of Adjustments, by virtue of the state law and city ordinance, the purpose of the Zoning Board of Adjustments is as follows. Hears appeals from zoning officers' decisions, grants special exceptions to the zoning code in accordance with the terms as established by the City Council, grants variances from the zoning code when strict enforcement creates an unnecessary hardship. Circumstances that are hardships include those that are not those that are self-inflicted or self-created, or those that are inconvenient or personal. Let me say that again. Circumstances that are not hardships include those that are self-inflicted or self-created, inconvenient, and are personal. The Zoning Board of Adjustments does not interpret or enforce subdivision covenants or HOA rules. Those matters are not relevant areas of inquiry by the board on any petition. There were sign-up sheets located outside for public comment. 4 speakers are allowed to speak in favor of a petition, and 4 speakers are allowed to speak in opposition of a petition. All speakers will have a maximum of 5 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. The board will take up items in the order of our final agenda. The board will initially receive a presentation from the staff as to the details of the agenda item. Now, after the staff's presentation, I will call upon the petitioner to present their case. The petitioner will have a maximum of 10 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. Now, at the conclusion of the petitioner's remarks, I will call on any party in order of the sign-up who desires to support the petition. Thereafter, I will call on any party in order of sign-up those who oppose the petition. Now, when it's your turn for comment, please introduce yourself, stating your name and address to the board. To provide your remarks, any written comments have already been included into our record. Now, after receiving the remarks of those who oppose the petition, the petitioner will have the opportunity to respond to those objections. Now, any rebuttal will be limited to 2 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. Now, if the petitioner presents any new information in response to the objections, the board will allow those who oppose the petition the opportunity to respond to the new information only. Any response will be limited to 2 minutes unless the board votes to allow a longer time. Now, during the course of this presentation, you may be interrupted by any member of the board for clarification or additional information. Now, such interruptions will not reduce your allowed time limit. Now, once the board members are satisfied that they have received all relevant information, I will close further discussion by the public, at which time the board members will discuss the matter and then vote. Now, after the vote, you are free to leave at that time. Now, these proceedings are being video recorded and broadcast live. All in-person public comments should be made at the podium and into the microphone. Any party aggrieved by any final judgment or decision of such Zoning Board of Adjustments may within 15 days thereafter appeal therefrom to the circuit court by filing with such board a written notice of appeal specifying the judgment or decision from which the appeal is taken. Now, do any members of the board have any conflicts of interest as to any agenda matters?
No.
No. Okay. I would ask the staff to confirm on the record that proper notice has been given to all parties in interest as required by law as to all matters before the board tonight.
Yes, it has.
Okay. With that, we will begin with the approval of minutes as the Board of Adjustments has received the synopsis for the June meeting. I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the same unless there are any deletions, additions, or corrections. I need a motion and a second to approve the synopsis.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, voting?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
approved. Okay, we'll start with staff presentations.
Board, give me just a minute to get our PowerPoint loaded.
We've been waiting all day for this, Jonathan.
Board, if we could just take a 5-minute recess to get the PowerPoint loaded. We'll get IT in here to get that situated.
Do we need to take a motion to move?
Yes, please.
Motion, I need a motion and then a second.
So moved.
Second.
All right, yay.
Yes.
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 We'll be on a 5-minute recess. Back into session. Now we'll have presentation. This never happens at council meeting, Jonathan.
Just make it fun for tonight. If that happens again, we'll just pull up the staff reports. That way we don't waste any additional time.
Okay.
So we'll begin with the cases requesting to be withdrawn. First case is ZBA 5625, Longleaf Engineering, petitions for a variance from the material standards for commercial buildings. This is on the property at 3311 and 3327 Hartgrove Road East. They are not in city limits. They could not be here tonight, but they are requesting to withdraw this application.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Yes.
So move.
Second.
Voting?
Yes.
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 All right, approved.
All right, now we'll move on to our request waiver of Rule 13. Sabama B&B Kim Roberts requests a waiver of Rule 13 to petition for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property at One the Downs. This was previously heard at ZBA 4625. If the above waiver is granted, the petition would be heard at the September 2025 meeting. Just a quick summary of the request, and then we'll have the petitioner come up. According to the applicant, the owner purchased the home at One the Downs to use for personal use, intended use for short-term rental. The owners were depending on the revenue that it would generate from the football season. Per the applicant, this would require the owner to wait 6 months. If the waiver is not granted, it would create a financial hardship. The applicant stated that the original petitioner did not understand the full process, and since the initial application, the original applicant has hired a property management company, Bama B&B, to manage the property. If the waiver is granted, the applicant would ask for fewer adults and cars. So we did receive a comment in opposition to granting this waiver, and we do have the applicant here in person. Do you have any questions for staff?
So just so we're clear, in order for the rules to apply, there has to be some significant change.
That's correct. The applicant has to prove that there has been a change. I can pull up the bylaws to show exactly what the applicant must prove for that waiver to be granted.
I think we want to see,
Yeah.
let's see that. So
Okay,
that
yep.
everybody will be clear on the same page.
All right, so here we have Rule 13, and then I'll slide it down. Here are the two items in which the applicant must prove to the board to grant the waiver for Rule 13.
Okay. All right, just kind of leave it to the side for us. You got a question?
I was not here last month, so what were the significant changes that were requested?
She's going to.
Oh, she's gonna talk, okay.
Okay. All right. Kim Roberts?
Hello, Kim Roberts, 46 Sherwood Drive, 35401. The owner of this property has hired our company to begin managing their property full-time. They do live out of state in Seattle, and so we will be managing the property 24/7 as we do all of our other 100-plus properties. At the time last month when she came before the board, she didn't really understand the full process of how this worked, and she thought she could handle doing this on her own and did not understand the ramifications of some of her responses, and immediately afterwards hired our company, and so I'm here to represent her property for this. We have had another property in this neighborhood before that we managed, and we actually ended up having that property removed from licensing because they were in non-compliance with us, and we do not tolerate that from our owners, nor do we tolerate it with guests. And so in this particular situation in that neighborhood, that license was removed. So we feel like we can easily manage this property and keep the neighbors happy with what's going on there. We have two other properties in just walking distance of this house as well. So we're willing, very happy to reduce the numbers this first year to what you had recommended at the previous meeting. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Any questions?
So you mentioned last month she came in and she wasn't aware of everything that she should have been made aware of, but did she have a manager listed last month?
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Did she have a manager listed?
She did not have a manager at the time. She hired us after that last meeting.
So who was gonna be the local representative last month? Did she have someone even
She was
listed?
representing herself.
No, but the local person, so the local contact person, did she have a local contact person listed? in her
Last
application?
time,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know what she did on that application, on who she listed. I want to say that maybe she had her daughter
I
listed,
believe it was her daughter.
that's a
College
student
daughter.
here.
So, again, I wasn't here, but I guess going back to the two items, it sounds like.
Bylaw.
Yeah, the bylaws there. Sounds like the significant modifications that have been made is that she's hired a management company. Was that the big issue?
Well, the big issue was the number of cars and the number of adults. And so because it was her first time, we asked her to do it, if she would be willing to lower it. And I don't think she understood that what we were asking her about lowering it, and she was, I guess, stuck on the amount of cars and people that she had to have. And I don't think she understood that we were making a recommendation, and
What is the recommendation if they go for the next one?
4 and 2.
Okay. All right.
And so would you be, if we move forward, is that okay now?
Absolutely.
Okay. Any more questions?
Was she given an option to withdraw last month?
We did not offer withdrawal to her.
No.
We didn't say, do you want to withdraw and think about it? She made a decision and she just moved forward, and then we ruled on it.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened on that. Other questions? Okay, thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Sure.
So now, Jonathan, are we just voting on that she can come back, or are we voting on giving the 4 and 2, or is it two separate things?
Yes, so right now, the vote would be to either approve the request for the waiver or to deny the request for the waiver. Prior to that, it is up to the board. You know, this is a public hearing, whether or not they want to open it up for public comment. I do know that we received some letters of opposition to grant the waiver, so it may be beneficial to start with that and then
Okay.
move on to board comment.
All right, we have Eric Lake here that would like to speak in opposition.
Esteemed members of the Zoning Board of Adjustment, my name is Dr. Eric Lake. I'm the owner of the house at 20 The Downs. I spoke here last time. Thank you for adjudicating this hearing. It cannot be easy to balance the rights and interests of so many people. I formally oppose Bama B&B's waiver request to forego the 6-month waiting period before making a new application for a zoning exception for a short-term rental at 1 The Downs. The Downs is a historic residential neighborhood comprised entirely of single-family homes and has long been appreciated for its stability, tranquility, and location. As designated historic district, the neighborhood is afforded certain protections to preserve its unique identity, and those protections played a significant role in my decision to make it my home. As you all know, I'm a disabled military veteran who suffers from hypervigilance due to the many improvised explosive devices I disarmed and defeated in the service of our country. Let me be a little clear about what my condition entails, since the owner of number 1, The Downs, misunderstood my comment at the last hearing when she essentially said there is danger everywhere and I should get over it. My condition has nothing to do with danger. In fact, I operate better when there is danger. My condition occurs when one lives in a heightened state of danger for an extended period of time. When I perceive potential danger, I physically spin up into a hypermania where all of my senses are heightened. This is great for combat, but not Tuscaloosa or my daily life as a professor at the University of Alabama. The problem with spinning up is not just the adrenaline that shoots into my system. The larger problem is that what comes up must come down. Hypermania is often followed by hypomania. This is why explosive ordnance disposal individuals like me have the highest rates of suicide in the U.S. military, bar none. We kill ourselves more often than any other profession. This is a fact that you can check with a simple Google search. Surviving over 1,300 individual attempts to take your life changes your life. As a result, I live my life constantly looking for situations that will require de-escalation. I avoid them and mitigate against them. One of the ways I do that is by getting to know my neighbors, seeing their faces, and registering that they are friendlies and belong in the spaces they share with me. My neighbors can attest to this because I always wave when I see them. I am that guy in the neighborhood. Other ways I mitigate potential hypermania is to steer clear of them. A short-term rental at One the Downs complicates my life severely. One the Downs occupies a highly visible and strategic location at the entrance of our neighborhood. As my neighbors have said in their written comments, its use as a short-term rental directly impacts traffic flow, noise levels, and overall perception of the community for both residents and visitors. However, for me, there is more. I cannot leave my home or the neighborhood I live in without passing that house. So I welcome the owner, her daughter, or a long-term renter to the property. I can get to know them. I can train my brain and other chemicals in my body to think of them as safe. This has nothing to do with who they are. It is simply who I am. It would be incredibly difficult to do this for short-term renters. When my wife and I were looking for a house, part of the reason we chose the Downs is that we thought the historical designation of the neighborhood would limit short-term disruptions and provide a place that was conducive to my well-being. Indeed, now that we've been there going on 5 years, I have found that the peaceful and predictable environment of the Downs is essential to my well-being. That is why the possibility of frequent disruptions associated with a short-term rental so close to my home and so strategically placed is deeply concerning. I asked the board the same question I did at the last hearing regarding One the Downs. Where in Tuscaloosa can disabled veterans like myself live? What community in Tuscaloosa is safe from having those rules that govern and bring stability, not constantly challenged by investors who themselves are outsiders to the community? I'm not asking that One the Downs not have cars on the side of the street or throw wild parties. I'm just asking when I knock on the door with an issue, I be greeted by the same friendly face I see when I wave at them from my porch, or as I see them while walking around the community I love so much. I don't care who that person is or what they look like. I just need them to be consistent and considerate. Unfortunately, these are two things that will be difficult, very difficult, with a short-term rental. As such, I urge the board to consider the long-term implications of granting this request to waive the 6-month waiting period, not only for those of us who currently live there, but also for the preservation. I see my time is up. If there are no questions, thank you for your thoughtful consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak against this petition? Come up forward, please.
Hi there. My name is Charter Morris. I live in 3 the Downs, directly next door to 1 the Downs. I did submit some comments. I just want to speak to the undue burden that is being sought to be remedied by the waiver. In our meeting a little over a month ago, when the owner of 1 the Downs was questioned by the zoning board here, you gave her multiple opportunities to make some reasonable accommodations being requested by her neighbors and by this board. At the time, she was adamant that if she was not granted the number of adults and cars that she was seeking, that she would not make profit on the property itself. The undue burden that she's claiming, I believe, is a bit of a false one. The result of that evening and her decision to stick with the original request of the cars and the number of adults that she was seeking to have rezoned for the short-term rentals led to this board's unanimous rejection of her request. That unanimous rejection was brought upon by herself. That undue burden was her own. The result of that evening, as we left here, I exited out these hallways by the stairwell and was followed by the owner of number 1 The Downs, who, as she caught up to me, told me very clearly that I could have just come over to talk to her and we could have resolved all this. And she kind of harassed me as I'm leaving the building. I didn't say much to her. Fast forward to August 7th. I sent you some pictures that were shared with me by one of my neighbors. August 7th, I had an outpatient surgery in Northport. I was put under. I slept through the entire day. And about 5 p.m., when I finally woke up, groggy in a t-shirt and jeans, I thought, I can at least walk to the mailbox. I'll check the mail. And as I did so, I saw the entire row of vehicles that had been brought and parked along the street by number 1 The Downs. Now, can someone who is an owner and resident park along the street? Absolutely. But this was done as a show. She blames me and the rest of the neighbors for what happened for the resulting decision by the zoning board. This was her way of lashing out. Among those many vehicles is her own rep with Bama B&B that was pictured there in those pictures. Not only is one side of the street covered, but the other side of the street as well. And I just want to bring up to the fact that I had already noted that my house caught fire back in January, and I was worried about emergency services access. And here, on a day when I'm coming out of a minor outpatient surgery, and I'm dealing with the side effects of all of the things that were pumped into me to put me under, I'm thinking, what if an ambulance needed to be called? And I could not have had that ambulance get through. I'm sure the neighbors would have scrambled, and the many guests that she had would have moved their cars, all 7 or 8 of them, that were blocking the street so that that ambulance could get to me on time, but I worry that it really couldn't have been. I don't see that her undue burden has been met. I don't know that she really has understood that you gave her ample opportunity to change her mind, and I don't believe that she should be given a waiver to come back and present and have the rest of our neighborhood again bring out the same concerns that we have. She asked us, and I have a minute left, she asked us the day before we were to have our hearing with the last zoning board meeting to come meet with her if they had concerns. Many of our neighbors did. She changed nothing about her plans or anything else. She actually kind of pshawed all of it. Don't worry about it. I have a daughter. She lives here. She goes to school here. She'll take care of things. She really didn't think this through, that she needed proper management, that she needed to take care of this and treat it like the business it was going to be, because it's going to generate $40-something thousand of income for her per year. She thinks of it as nothing. She thinks of the house as nothing. This $400,000 investment to her is not being treated the way it should be. I need her to take it seriously. I think she needs to be given the 6 months to come up with a plan that addresses the neighbors' concerns and bring it back before the zoning board properly. I think that that is a reasonable thing, and I do not think that that's an undue burden. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against? I have a Nina McMullen signed to speak in favor. No? Okay. Anyone else would like to speak for or against? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment and we'll go to board. Do we need to do board comment or do we just vote?
It's up to the board.
Do we need to make comments, Mary Catherine, comments?
This is a hard one for me because I was not here to hear the original petitioners. So I don't know how much of this is accurate, what I'm hearing. However we want to handle it is fine.
Tim?
I mean, this is a tough one. She was given a lot of opportunities, but I don't know.
I think that I appreciate the comments from the individuals from the neighborhood, and especially the last comment, because he was very clear. We did give a lot of opportunity, and we did express, I know I personally said, so you are saying if we do 4-2, you will not take it. And she said no, and so I don't, I don't see anything other than going to property management. And if you met with her and talked to her, and I think that, you know, this, like he said, this is a business, and this is money is going to be generated. So that's where I'm leaning there. Mr. Rollins?
Just as Mrs. Holt wasn't here at the last meeting, I was absent as well. But looking just on the face value as to if we should grant this waiver, if she brought it to the board and Mrs. Roberts mentioned that she didn't have a manager at that time, it's one thing to not have a property manager, but if she had everything else in place, she said her daughter was here, so it's not a situation where we asked her, who's your local person? And she says, well, I don't have one. And then she comes back and says, well, now I have Ms. Roberts. She said her daughter's gonna be the local person. She had a request for a certain number of vehicles and cars. She was given the opportunity to reduce it. She decided not to. And her hardship, we know your hardship can't be financial.
Yeah.
So you can't look and say, well, if I have to wait 6 months, I'm gonna lose X amount of dollars. So I'm not in favor of granting the waiver based off of those items I just listed.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment, and we'll commence with the vote. I guess I need to read the petition. Petitions for a waiver of Rule 13 requiring a 6-month waiting period after a denial of a petition by the board. Bama B&B Kim Roberts requests a waiver of Rule 13 to petition of a special exception to allow a short-term rental of a property located at 1 The Downs, previously heard as ZBA-46-25. Voting with Ms. Holt?
No.
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 Petition fails.
We'll move into our cases to be heard, beginning with ZBA 57, Kim Roberts petitions for a variance from the accessory structure regulations. This is on the property at 46 Sherwood Drive on SFR 1H, Council District 4. Here we have the zoning of the property as well as that aerial view. This is an image submitted by the petitioner showing on the left-hand side where the gazebo would be located, and on the right-hand side, the view from the street, noting that it would be covered and you could not see it from the public street. Here we have just some photos from staff. So the request is for a variance from the accessory structure regulations to build a gazebo in the front yard. The petitioner has stated that the metal gazebo will be shielded by mature bushes planted in front of the property, and the hardships is that they do not have a backyard to use since the house sits so close to the rear property line. Here we have the site plan. You can see the 20 by 18 play garden, which is located just across the street or right beside those bushes. And then here we have an image of the gazebo. The applicable regulations, this applies to all accessory structures. Number one, cannot be located closer to a street than the primary structure. We did not receive any public comments for this request, and we do have the representative here in person. Do you have any questions for staff?
So, go back to the picture in front of the house with the bushes right there.
Yes.
So, she's saying that structure will not be taller. That structure won't be taller than that shrubs or hedges?
I will let her confirm the height. We did not receive a height, but I believe that is the intention, is that it would not be visible if you were standing in the road.
And it's legal to have this in front of the house, because it's
The
like,
bushes, landscaping, you can have those. I know that in our engineering office, there are some line of sight issues. Here, this has existed. They're at the end of a cul-de-sac, so I don't think there's any issues with those being located there.
okay. So I was looking at it like a fence, how you couldn't have a fence in front, okay.
Right.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, trees and bushes, those are excluded outside of the
Okay.
fence and walls.
All right. Any other questions for the city?
But is it going on the brick pavers?
That's right. Essentially right in the middle.
And the reason for the request is that it's in the front of the house, it's in the front yard.
That's correct. Yeah.
Can you put on the site plan and keep it there?
Yes. So for context, the front of the house is located here, and then you have the road here.
Do we have an aerial view of the property?
Yes. So for context, that approximately would be located here. The petitioner can confirm that exact location, but essentially it would be between the house and the road.
Could it be in that side, could it be put in that side part?
It would
That's-
essentially have to be somewhere in this vicinity.
It could go there without having to come before us?
That's correct.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Ms. Roberts?
Kim Roberts, 46 Sherwood Drive, 35401. We have an antique gazebo that we purchased. It was built in the early 1900s. That was the white structure that you saw. It is already pre-constructed. It's just, would just be set onto that concrete patio area that we have. Its intent is to be for the weddings that we're doing there at the house. And so we already have, along the road, you saw the picture of the Iliagnus bushes that were approved many years ago, about 10 years ago, in fact. And so those stand about somewhere between 8 and 10 feet in height. And then we planted the holly bushes just to add one more layer of, to block the view, you know, from the street. So there would not be, you wouldn't be able to see it, you know, from there. And then we plan to also plant climbing ivy onto the trellis of the gazebo, so it'll just blend in with the bushes.
How tall are your holly bushes?
Those holly bushes right there are 10 feet right now and will grow to be about 15,
How tall is your structure?
12.
So it's taller than the holly bushes.
Right, and so the bushes that are behind it are also about the same height as those trees, but continuing to grow. So,
Is there any reason why it can't go on the side of the house versus this location?
well, the side of the house is already fully landscaped. It has a large gazebo that y'all approved when we were building the pavilion. The structure in the side yard, you know, has a roof and it's very substantial. This is just a small garden accessory, basically. It doesn't have a roof, it doesn't have walls, it's just a metal, antique metal gazebo.
Any more questions for Ms. Roberts? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We don't have anybody signed up to speak for or against. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment and go to board comment. Ms. Holt?
Because of the landscaping that's already been approved and the height that it'll grow to, I think I'm okay with this. It doesn't seem to be a huge structure, so I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm all right with it as well, but I would like to ask city staff, I mean, can we put a stipulation to ensure she puts the ivory so it will blend with the rest of the landscape?
If you want to make that a condition, if this were to be approved, that would be appropriate.
I think if she did that, and which she stated she already would, I believe I'd have no issue.
Seeing it with the landscaping and how it's going to be concealed, I don't see it being a major issue. I had some, when it first came up and I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, I didn't see these pictures, and I was like, okay, this is going to be in the front yard, but I see now it blends in, and I don't see any issue, and I'm okay with the stipulation about the ivy being on it, or having something kind of to make it blend in at all times, because ivy during a certain time goes away, right?
I think it stays green.
It stays green? Okay.
Yeah, I have no issues with it. Initially, I think when we think about an accessory structure in the front yard, we may be thinking of a structure with 4 walls, and it may be something that may block traffic if I'm coming down the street. But with this particular accessory structure, I have no issues with it. And the house is on a cul-de-sac, so you won't have a lot of traffic going up and down that may be blocking a driveway or something like that.
Okay, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-57-25, Kim Roberts petitions for a variance from the accessory structure regulations on the property located at 46 Sherwood Drive, Zone SFR-18, Council District 4, with the stipulation ivy how do we, ivy, stipulating the ivy to
Some
cover,
greenery.
greenery to cover the gazebo, the structure. So stipulating greenery to cover the gazebo, the structure. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition approved.
Next case is ZBA 5825, John Markham petitions for a special exception to locate a temporary office and restroom on the property at 2500 Greensboro Avenue, zoned IL, Council District 2. Here we have the zoning of the property as well as that aerial view. This is an image of the existing building and screen area. Here we have the applicable regulations. These are specific to temporary uses and structures, specifically for a temporary mobile and modular structure. The request is for a special exception to locate the office and restroom on the property for use during the construction of a new office and warehouse. The existing warehouse will be used for business during the construction, and the existing office building will be demolished. So according to the petitioner, the anticipated timeline is to have the portable office in place by October 1st of this year and then removed by August 15th of 2026. So here we have an image of what that temporary structure would look like. On your left are your exterior elevations, and then on your right-hand side is what the floor plan looks like. And this is just a general site plan. They do note where the portable office will be located. And then they show plans for the new future building. We did receive one comment in opposition to this request. We have the applicants here in person. Do you have any questions for staff?
No questions, thank you. John Markham?
Good evening, Board. I'm John Markham. I'm with Markham Architects. We represent the owner. My address is 1510 17th Avenue East. As was already stated, we're in the process of designing a 12,000-plus square foot office warehouse, which will be a permanent structure, obviously. The modular office is just to let the owner use the existing warehouse while construction is taking place it'll probably be there for 8 months in reality, but we'll ask for a little bit longer just in case. Obviously, they will be, like I said, they'll be using the existing warehouse while construction is taking place, so it's really just a place for their staff to be in for sales to take place during the interim while the construction is taking place. And it is temporary, obviously.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have anybody signed up to speak for or against. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? At this time, we'll close public comment. We'll go to board comment. Ms. Holt?
I don't have any issue with this. I believe he said that they anticipated having it there for 8 months, but it asked for, looks like they've asked for 10 months just to be safe. As long as it is gone within that time frame, I'm fine with this.
Yeah, I agree with my fellow board members. As long as we limit it to 10 months, I have no issue.
I agree with my fellow board members, limiting it 10 months.
I agree. I have no issues.
Okay. At this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-58-25, John Markham petitions for a special exception to locate a temporary office and restroom on the property located at 2500 Greensboro Avenue, zoned IL, Council District 2, with the stipulation must be removed by August 2026. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition approved.
Moving on to our next case tonight, ZBA 7225. Juan Pascal petitions for a special exception to operate a light vehicle repair shop at the property located at 4201 Greensboro Avenue, Zone GC, Council District 7. Here we have the zoning of the property as well as an aerial view. Here's the front of that existing structure and the garage to the rear. Here's a shot of the fence and some of the parking and a shot of the entire property. As you can see, that red structure in the back is the main garage, and then you can see it in the front as well. So as part of the request, the petitioner is requesting a special exception to operate a tire shop. The building was previously used as a mechanical shop. They'll be performing services like the sale and installation of tires, brakes, and tire alignments. The business will not be performing any mechanical work except for light vehicle repairs. All the tires will be stored inside the building. They'll be operating from Monday to Saturday, 7:30 to 5:30, and they'll have 2 full-time employees. Here's the applicable regulations for light vehicle repair. As part of these regulations, staff would recommend that the board place a condition, if approved, that the applicant work with staff on an appropriate screening material for the fence. I believe we have the petitioners in person. Do you have any questions for staff?
So does that fence have to be screened if they're gonna park cars back there? They have to have some screening?
Yeah,
That's what that should be screened?
that's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Good job. Juan Pascal?
Hello, my name is Amy. I'm his daughter. He wasn't able to make it today. Do y'all have any questions?
We need your name, full name, and your address.
Okay, Amy Pascual Domingo. My address is 4101 Eleanor Street. I live with my father.
Okay. Is he gonna have it screened? Is he gonna put screening on the fence?
Whatever needs to be fixed, he'll be able to cooperate with y'all. If the fence, do y'all mean it needs to be like blacked out or?
Yeah, so that we can't see if he has cars parked back there, he's gonna have to have some screen on the fencing so that we can't see anything in the back.
Is
All
that
right.
just if cars are parked overnight? Or if
That-
it's
Yeah,
used as?
that's something we would advise, if, just put the condition that there is screening
Because they're
to
gonna be
work with
overnight.
staff. Yeah,
Just,
and then we can work with the applicant on the specifics, material, placement, location, all those things.
okay. Any other questions? No other questions. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Good job. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment. Sir, did you? Okay. All right, so we close public comment. We'll go to board comment. Ms. Holt?
I'm fine with the stipulation of the screening.
Yeah, I have no issue. It's like it's been auto repair or some type of auto business before, so as long as they do the screen, I have no issue.
I agree. I don't have any issue. This is the purpose that it's been used for since its inception, so I'm okay with it.
I have no issues, I'm in favor.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-72-25, Juan Pascal petitions for a special exception to operate a light vehicle repair shop on the property located at 4201 Greensboro Avenue, Zone GC, Council District 7, with the stipulation of fence being screened. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition approved.
All right, we'll move into our short-term rentals. First case is ZBA 6025. Justin Durham petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property. This is located at 4574 Royale Drive, Zone GPD, Council District 3. Here we have the zoning of the property as well as an aerial view. We do not have any short-term rentals in the area. And then here we have the house and the parking area. So this request is essentially the same. You saw it last month, but they have made some slight changes. So Justin Durham will be the primary contact. The petitioner does not have experience managing short-term rentals. They also be equipped with Ring doorbell and a keypad locks, and it is owner-occupied. Now, last month, the request was for 8 adults and 4 vehicles. Staff made the condition that 2 cars must park in the garage. The applicant said they could not accommodate that at the meeting, so the board approved 4 adults and 2 vehicles. Now the applicant is back saying they can accommodate 2 vehicles in the garage, so they would like to request for 8 adults and 4 vehicles.
Has staff checked out that they can accommodate that?
So our Office of City Engineers felt confident if they could get 2 vehicles in the garage, that we would be comfortable with 8 and 4.
But this petitioner does not have previous experience with a short-term rental?
They do not, no.
They were approved last month.
They were approved last month, but for 4 and 2, 4 adults and 2. Mhm. The main issue at the meeting last month is the petitioner stated they could not park two vehicles in their garage or would not park. After consultation, after the meeting, they decided that they could park two cars. So that's why they're back asking for the full 8 and 4 with the condition that 2 are in the garage.
So, last month, the original request was 8 and 4.
That's correct.
And the question is centered around the garage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can get 2 cars in the garage now. So last month, did 6 and 3 come up?
No, it was not discussed.
Go back to the picture, see, they
Yeah.
couldn't get the 2 in the, they wouldn't put the 2 in the garage, so the driveway would only take the 2 in the
Yeah.
driveway,
So you couldn't even get one in the garage last week or last month.
so 4 and 2. I'm sorry, Kevin, I know I'm giving him fits today. Last month, when we looked at it, they could not put the 2 or wouldn't put the 2 in the garage. And so we only could put 2 cars in the driveway. Okay.
Yep.
Justin Durham?
Hi, I'm Justin Durham, 4574 Royale Drive. Thanks for the synopsis about that. The issue was, I was surprised about the 2 cars in the garage. We had planned to put the stuff that we just didn't want the short-term renters to see into the garage. But my wife is the real quick thinker, and so when I talked to her, she's like, of course we can put 2 cars in the garage. We put 2 cars in the garage as it is now. So that's why I'm back. Again, the staff last time recommended 8 and 4. I, to be quite honest, just panicked the last time. In the past, before the previous owners, it was approved for 9 guests before. So I just asked that we do what the staff recommended, 8 and 4. I'm sorry, it was 10. It was approved for 10, previous owner.
It was approved for how many?
10 is what the previous owner told us.
You see that, Jonathan?
I will double check to verify that information and can let you know.
How long ago was that?
I have no idea exactly. We've lived there for 4 years.
I've only been here 3.
I don't know how long I've been here. 10 is like, yeah. That we.
Regardless, we're not looking for 10 people. We're just looking for the 8 and 4.
Yeah, we're in a neighborhood with neighbors who usually don't even go 8 and 4, because that's a lot of people with kids. What do you see, Jonathan?
They were approved for 8 and 4, the previous applicants.
How long ago
were.
was that?
2020.
2020. It was a COVID year.
They were also approved times before. This was back previous to our current policies, to where now staff, if there are no issues, staff can approve those. So they came to you as a board, you voted to approve it for a year, they came back and they got reapproved after there were no issues.
So show us the aerial view again.
And there is,
Oh, okay, I see why now. There's nobody you don't have a neighbor
no ma'am.
on the one side?
No, not on that side. It's just woods.
And so for people who might be wondering, how is this different? He was approved, so when you're approved, you can just come back and ask for more without an issue. Okay, so any other questions for him?
And your reason for not using the garage last month, or not being open to using the garage, is because you have items in the garage that you did.
Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. Go
that you
ahead.
didn't want the guests to have access to.
Right, so just clutter and things like that, we were just going to put into the garage, just as an easy thing. Since we talked about it, we found places for the clutter and have no issues putting the 2 cars in the garage. I have a very large vehicle, my wife has a small SUV, and we can get the cars in there, it's not an issue. It was just a matter of willingness the last time. And again, I was shocked, not the quick thinker, and was sick to my stomach when I got home because I messed it up, I knew. And I looked at my wife and said, I think I messed it up. And she said, yes, you did. You need to fix it. So,
I love your honesty.
Yeah.
Your wife was like, of course we, but you had a plan. She told you were going to put the stuff in the garage and you were
yes,
going
ma'am.
with the plan.
I have the plan now.
He's got notes. I love it. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Durham.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak for or against this petition? At this time, we'll close public comment and we'll go with board comment.
I have a question. If we end up voting yes for this, does their 1 year start from this month?
Yes.
So generally, I'm not a big fan of 8 and 4, especially when a petitioner does not have short-term rental experience. Sounds like there's a precedent here. It seems like the site is, the neighborhood is pretty forgiving for, that many people, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, usually we like to start off 6 and 3. But I mean, considering this specific situation where the house has been approved in the past for 8 and 4, he doesn't have a neighbor to the right of the house, I'll be okay with 8 and 4 this time.
I agree, and he's got his plan on the sticky notes, and his wife seems like she's going to run it, so I'm okay with it as well.
Yeah, I have no issues as well. Question, last month, did we have any opposition from neighbors?
No.
There was one letter in opposition. We had no letters in opposition this month.
I have no issues. I'm in favor of 8 and 4, especially with it previously being approved for 8 and 4.
Okay? So at this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-60-25, Justin Durham petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 4574 World Drive, Zone GPD, Council District 3, with the stipulation of 8 adults, 4 vehicles, 30 nights, 1 year. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Tell your wife you approve, Justin.
Next case is ZBA 6125. Marion Snow petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 4336 Ridgewood Road. This property is on SFR 1, Council District 5. Here we have the zoning of the property as well as that aerial view. There are no short-term rentals in the surrounding area. And then here we have a view of the house and that parking pad. So Marion Snow will be the primary contact and be available 24 hours a day. The petitioner does have experience managing short-term rentals in the area. This house is equipped with keypad locks and security cameras, and it is owner-occupied. The house has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The petitioner requests 8 adults and 4 vehicles. If approved, staff would recommend 8 adults and 4 vehicles. We did actually receive 1 comment in support and 1 comment in opposition to this request. Do you have any questions for staff?
Go back to the aerial view for us.
Are there 2 driveways?
Are there 2 driveways or just 1?
That is my understanding, but I'll let the
Okay.
applicant confirm.
All right, Ms. Snow?
Hi.
I'm Marion Snow. I live in the subject property, 4336 Ridgewood Road, Tuscaloosa. I was born and raised here, went to the University of Alabama, and then I moved to the Chicago suburbs and started managing properties about 1990. So then after I managed there, they were my own properties. I moved to St. Louis, and there I had 20 units that I managed. And then I moved to North Carolina, eastern North Carolina, and I had a beachfront 4-bedroom short-term rental property on the beach. So I had several years of managing that. Then when I moved back to Tuscaloosa, I bought a property on 30th Avenue out in Alberta. And this was in 2016 before the regulations took effect the summer of 17. So I had a year of managing that for game day rentals, basically, but other rentals for that year. Then I sold that property. I bought this one, and it's been my residence for 9 years. I had plans to do this for years and just never did it. So now I've decided, okay, I've done it. So I have a relative who lives on that street who is the place where I'll be when I do have rentals. And then I have a sister and a mother who also live in Tuscaloosa County. So I have 3 or 4 places that I could go when I do have game day rentals. So,
And Mary Catherine had the question about
It looks like there's 2 driveways, one off
there
Ridgewood
are,
and.
am I speaking too loud? I feel like I'm
No,
echoing.
you're good.
The drive you saw up to the front of the house to the garage is from Ridgewood, and then that's like a blank dead-end street that the original developers put that never went anywhere. So you can't see it under where those trees are, but there is a metal garage that has been built, and it has a side driveway to it.
Okay.
So there's allowable parking there as well as the parking on my front drive. And it goes nowhere, it's just dead end.
any more questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
We have, is this one? for her? We have one person signed up to speak in opposition, Charles Bale.
Good afternoon, or good evening. My name's Charles Bell. I live at 4351 Timberdale Drive. That's in the Hillsdale neighborhood. My property is adjacent to this property. I moved into this neighborhood about 18 years ago. And over these 18 years ago, the property, the neighborhood has gone down. I'm sure that the property's values have gone down. Many people in the area don't keep the grass cut, don't keep their properties looking up to what they should. So, of course, you know that I'm against this rezoning situation. The short-term rentals, you're gonna have the people come in, rent the place for a week, 2 weeks. These people are gonna be in and out, gonna be cars on the street. She may rent it for a weekend, and big parties, whatever, maybe 10 or 20 people in there. Like I said, people coming in and out, vagrancy, migrants coming in, out, riffraff in the area, coming in and out of there. So I'm against this rezoning of this property, and I thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Bale. Is there anybody else in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? Would you like to respond, Ms. Marion?
I understand the rules required for no street parking, and I have rentals rules already put together that I've used previously, and that includes that no guests in the property unless they're registered, which would mean it would be limited to the number that we're listed for. And of course, no parking on the street. The ordinance is about noise. I've got that with the decibel levels and what hours that's supposed to be. So every person who is basically doing the short-term rental will be advised of all the rules that apply. So the street parking won't be an issue because it's not allowed.
And this is your personal home, right?
It is.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, this time we'll close public comment, and we'll go to board comment with Ms. Holt. Well, read the petition. ZBA-61- no, Tim, I'm not listening to you. Ms. Holt, comments.
Let me get my thoughts together after that. I understand there are sometimes concerns with short-term rentals going into neighborhoods, especially when there aren't others in neighborhoods or aren't others already in that neighborhood. I do feel like, though, especially when we have a house that is owner-occupied, that there's like a heightened level of care that goes into who rents those properties and making sure that there aren't people in there who are going to, in some way, deteriorate the home or the neighborhood. And so for those reasons, I feel comfortable with this. Again, we've got an 8 and 4, which because of your past history with rentals, I'm okay with.
I'm okay with the short-term rental. I believe I'd rather see the 6 and 3 starting out. Being your first one here, I know you have history with it, but that's what I'd rather see.
Surprisingly, this one, go back to the picture, because it doesn't have anybody on three sides of it, and that street between it and the big yard between it, I'm okay. Rarely am I okay with 8 and 4, but this time I am okay, but I'll go with what the majority of the board is wanting to do.
Yeah, I have no issues. I'm in favor with 8 and 4 or 6 and 3.
Your call.
I'm okay with the 8 and 4 on this particular issue and with her previous experience. And just to look at, and just know that we don't normally do 8 and 4, especially the first time, because we think that's close to a party, but this is a large house and it's rather secluded and it's far enough away from your guests and the way the house is positioned on the property. So I'm okay with that. I'm going to close board comment and then read the petition. ZBA-61-25, Marion Snow petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 4336 Ridgewood Road, Zone SFR-1, Council District 5. Before we vote, I just want to make sure the petitioner that was opposed understands that it will be limited to 8 adults and 4 vehicles in the property, so they won't be just a random number of folks there. She lives in the property, so I'm sure she's going to be mindful of who is going to stay in her property. So I do understand, I heard your concerns, so I don't want you to think we negated your concerns. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition approved.
Next case is ZBA 6225, Nina McMullen petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 2111 Herman Avenue, zoned SFR 5, Council District 1. Here we have the zoning of the property and the aerial view. There are no short-term rentals in this area. And then here we have a view of the house and the parking area. So Nina McMullen will be the primary contact. The petitioner does not have experience with short-term rentals, but they have lived in one while traveling as a nurse. Petitioner has experience with long-term rentals. The house will be equipped with security cameras, keypad locks. It is not owner-occupied, and it'll be used by the petitioner when it's not being rented short-term. The house has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The petitioner requests 2 to 4 adults, 6 to 8 vehicles. If approved, staff would recommend 4 adults and 2 vehicles. We did not receive any public comment. We do have this applicant here in person. Do you have any questions for staff? Thanks.
Ms. Mullen? McMullen?
Hello, I'm Nina McMullen, presently living in 14009 Marion Loop, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tell us about your plans for the short-term rental.
Okay, my plans for short-term rental. This property has since 1958 been in my family. The property been owned by my family. Actually, I was born and reared here at this property owned by my grandparents. I inherited or acquired from family for many years. It has been unoccupied, basically as a shelter for property, furniture. Over 40-plus years, I've been serving. I call myself a servant. I'm a retired operating room nurse, and deciding to retire, semi-retired, and move back, and decided to invest into this property and provide it as a service to the community. I feel as though my grandparents and my family would love to provide this service to people visiting Tuscaloosa, Alabama, mainly to preserve the house, as well as over the last, I could say, 4 years that I had the property. We have maintained and kept that corner lot area where the house is located clean and secure.
Now, do you have like rules and regulations?
Yes, we submitted house rules that we developed to the city.
And you will be the person on call if something happens?
Yes, I will be the person called if anything happens, and I'm about 15 minutes away from the house facility.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment, and we'll start with Ms. Holt, board comment.
I have no issues with this, especially with staff recommendations of 4 adults and 2 vehicles.
I see no issue with 4 and 2 as well.
I agree with my fellow board members.
I have no issues, I'm in favor.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment. Reading the petition, ZBA-62-25, Nina McMullen, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 2111 Herman Avenue, Zone SFR-5, Council District 1. 4 adults, 2 vehicles, 30 nights, 1 year probation. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition approved.
Next case is ZBA 6325, Bama B&B Kim Roberts, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property at 538 Hargrove Road. This property is zoned SFR 1, Council District 2. Here we have the zoning of the property, as well as that aerial view. There are several short-term rentals in the surrounding area. Here we have a view of the house, and then the parking driveway area. So Bama Vacation Rentals will be the primary contact. They have over 15 years' experience as a property management company. This house is equipped with cameras, keypad locks, and a noise detection system. It is not owner-occupied, and it will be used for extended stays or be vacant when it's not being rented short-term. House has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The petitioner requests 6 adults and 3 vehicles. If approved, based on the driveway, staff would recommend 4 adults and 2 vehicles. We received 1 comment in support and 1 comment in opposition for this request. Do you have any questions for staff?
No questions. Ms. Roberts?
Hello, Kim Roberts, 46 Sherwood Drive, 35401. One thing I noticed that the picture that you showed of the house, can you go back to the driveway? Because the owner, right after they closed on the property, actually widened that driveway, and there's plenty of room to park 4 vehicles in that driveway. It was a narrow driveway before, but all that grass area now is gravel, and so you can actually park cars side by side easily. So that's why we were requesting the 6 adults and 3 vehicles on there. The house has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, so it can easily accommodate that number.
Do we need pictures or?
Staff does not have pictures of that.
I didn't realize, because it was done several weeks ago, I would have submitted pictures.
These pictures were taken probably 2 weeks ago. So if they want to come back next month, that's completely up to the applicant.
But it is completed. It's all gravelled on that left side now.
So what we can do, we can take, if we approve it, we can take staff recommendations, and then if you provide pictures, then we can come back next month and increase.
Okay.
Okay, if it's approved. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay.
We don't have anybody signed up to speak for or against. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment. We'll go to board comment. Ms. Holt?
I have no issues with the staff recommendations of 4 and 2, and it looks like there's a lot of other short-term rentals in the area, so I'm fine with this.
Yeah, there's other short-term rentals right there next door, and I have no issue with staff recommendation 4 and 2.
I agree. Ms. Roberts' experience, so I have no problem with this.
I have no issues, I'm in favor of staff recommendations.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-63-25, Bama B&B Kim Roberts, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 538 Hargrove Road, Zone SFR-1, Council District 2. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition is approved.
Next case is ZBA 6425, James and Laura Smeenge, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property at 431 MLK Boulevard, Zone MR1, Council District 1. Here we have the zoning of that property, as well as an aerial view. Here we have a view of the surrounding short-term rentals. You've seen this townhome before, I think 3 of the 4. This might be the last one. And then here we have the rear parking area. So James Smeenge will be the primary contact and be available 24 hours a day. Jennifer Fuqua will be the local contact and will also be available in case of any emergencies. The petitioner does not have experience managing short-term rentals. The house will be equipped with cameras and keypad locks. It is not owner occupied, and it'll be used by the family when it's not being rented short-term. The house has 3 beds and 3 baths. The petitioner requests 6 adults and 2 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 4 adults and 2 vehicles. We did not receive any comments on this application, and we do have the representative here in person. Do you have any
So the
questions?
other ones, we've done at 4 and 2.
4 and 2.
'Cause
And
they
the
only
reason
have-
being is because of the garage, the on-street parking, we can't consider as part of the request, so that's why they've all been limited to 4 and 2.
Okay. So, James Smeenge?
I'm Jennifer Fuqua. I'm here to represent James and Laura. I'm at 11913 Kings Loop Road, Tuscaloosa.
Okay. And so, just gonna do short-term rental, does he have like the rules and regulations and so forth?
They do have all of the rules and regulations, yes.
Any other questions for him?
Remind me who the point of contact was, if there's an issue.
They will be the point of contact, but I will be the local point of contact.
Okay,
All
I
right.
assist with the other properties there as well,
okay,
in
all right,
case needed, so.
good to know.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, do we have anybody in the audience who'd like to speak for or against this? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment, go to board comment with Ms. Holt.
I have no issues, this is what we've done in the other units.
Yeah, I have no issues either with 4 and 2.
I agree with my fellow board members, we've seen this property before.
I have no issues, I'm in favor.
Okay. So we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition, ZBA-64-25, James and Laura Smeenge. Petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 431 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Zone MR-1, Council District 1. 4 adults, 2 vehicles, 30 nights, 1 year probation. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition is approved.
I'm good.
Next case is ZBA 65-25, Carrie Kenward, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property at 908 16th Avenue, Zone MRU, Council District 4. Here we have the zoning of the property, as well as the aerial view, and all of our short-term rentals in the downtown campus area. Here we have a view of the house, and then that parking area. So Tanner Ashcraft will be the primary contact and be available in case of any emergencies. The representative does have experience managing short-term rentals. The house is equipped with cameras and keypad locks. It is not owner-occupied, and it'll be vacant when it's not being rented short-term. The house has 3 beds and 3 baths. They request 4 adults and 2 vehicles. If approved, staff agrees that it should be 4 adults and 2 vehicles. We do have the representative here in person, and no comments were submitted. Do you have any questions for staff?
No, sir. Thank you. Tanner or Carrie, who's coming up?
Tanner Ashcraft, 1120 Queen City Avenue. You have any questions for me?
You can at least, do a little dance for us, Tanner. No.
Yeah, so this is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house. Obviously, you saw the location, a lot of short-term rentals around it. Alabama family, they don't live in Tuscaloosa, they live in the state, bought it, their kids go to school here. So kind of the same story. We hear a lot. They'll be coming to a lot of the games. When they're not here, they'd like for me to manage it for them. It's got which is typical in the historic district, just the single lane driveway, which is the reason for 2 cars, 4 adults.
Well, we appreciate you managing all those houses out there, Tanner. We saw.
Not quite.
Okay, any more questions for Tanner? Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right. Does anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this petition? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment. We'll go to board comment with Ms. Holt.
No issues, obviously, there's a lot of short-term rentals in the area, so I'm good with staff recommendations.
Yeah, I agree as well. I'm good with staff recommendations of 4 and 2.
I'm good as well, because Tanner's on the job, so I know it's going to be handled right, so I agree.
I have no issues, I'm in favor.
Okay. At this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-65-25, Carrie Kenward. Petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 908 16th Avenue, Zone MRU, Council District 4. 4 adults, 2 vehicles, 30 nights, 1 year probation. Voting with Ms. Holt.
Yes.
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 Petition is approved. Take a break.
Next case is ZBA 6625, Garrett Bullock, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property. This is at 4 The Knolls on SFR 4, Council District 5. Here we have the zoning of the property, as well as that aerial view, and then a view of all the short-term rentals in the general area. Here we have a view of the house with that driveway. So Garrett Bullock would be the primary contact. The petitioner does have experience managing 2 short-term rentals. The house is equipped with a doorbell camera, keypad locks, and a noise detection system. It is not owner-occupied, and it'll be rented long-term when it's not being rented short-term. So the house has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The request is for 4 adults and 2 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 4 adults and 2 vehicles. We did receive 2 comments in opposition, along with a petition with 7 signatures in opposition to this request. Do you have any questions for staff?
Can you go back to the aerial, were there any other short-term rentals? And there's a
Yes.
couple of them. Okay.
None in the Knolls
In the Knoll.
neighborhood, right?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Hey, how are y'all doing? Garrett Bullock, 13869 Glen Park Avenue. Any questions? I have. They're wanting long-term renters, but the way it is, usually I do short-term and long-term depending, because you know, if it's 180 days, it's considered long-term. And I do a lot of transient people, travel nurses. A lot of them start off with a 3-month contract, and sometimes they extend to a 6-month, and then it's a long-term. But it all just depends. I have another gentleman at my other house, is burnt down, and he's staying until February next year. I keep a lot of transit people coming through, other than travel nurses. I have some individuals on 2008 14th Street that are working at Hunt Oil Refinery right now. But I'm just trying to make sure I can keep people places to stay. And also, we like to keep our family, because I'm from Montgomery. So our family, when they come in, we can't house them all at our place. So if I have an empty location, I'll let them stay at that house.
So you've had long-term rental at this location?
At which one? I
The-
just bought this
Okay,
property on
so it was another
July 10th.
property you had
Yes,
bought.
ma'am.
Okay. Your mic.
I'm coughing, that's why I turn it on and off, okay? I don't want to be coughing in it, that's why I keep doing that, okay? My question, Jonathan, so I thought anything over 30 days was going to be considered the long-term, right?
That's right, yeah. So, and it may have changed, but our revenue office, they process either a long-term rental license or tax, and then a short-term rental. So anything over 30 consecutive nights would be considered a long-term rental.
It doesn't go against your 30 days or 45 days. But
So
when it
31
comes to
da-
tax purposes, you know,
Right,
instead of
right,
paying
yeah.
15%, I'm only paying 5% if they're 180. That's, sorry.
I understand, I'm just, clarifying, because I was making sure I
No,
was
that's a
right
good
about.
question, though.
So you got experience and you want,
And I've had 0 complaints.
I got you. Any other questions for Garrett? Okay, thank you. All right, we have several people signed up to speak in opposition. Nancy Cobb.
Thank you. My name is Nancy Cobb. I live at 3600 8th Street East, And even though that isn't the knoll comes in like this, takes a right turn. And I actually live in a historic old log cabin that belonged to Hank Chris. And next door is a house that belonged to Happy Campbell. I've been there 36 years, and we have fought to get this neighborhood the way it is now. We have wonderful neighbors. I can walk around my street, have no problem whatsoever. It's a neighborhood that we know each other, and, you know, we know what cars they drive, and we don't need an Airbnb there. And I understand that it's very profitable, which I'm sure would be nice. But we have, like I said, it's a log house built in the 1850s and 1880s. We do not need any interruption there. We have woods, a wooded area behind, as you can see on the map. We have a large wooded area. We grow native plants. We have deer, raccoons, fox, all kind of native animals there that we don't want people driving around a lot. When you come into the knoll, you can't make a left turn going out. You have to, if you go all the way around, you have to turn back to the right. So there's a lot of traffic there. Our streets, believe it or not, are only 10 and 11 feet wide, okay? I mean, that doesn't sound possible in Tuscaloosa, but it is. Kip knows this, and he's really fought with us. But it appears from some research, and I think we had numerous know people, and then one person did research and said that most of the time, or many, many times, when Airbnbs come in, the property values go down. Now, as you can see, we are not a wealthy neighborhood. You know, if you know, I've often wondered, these people that are doing Airbnbs, would they want one next door to them? We do not really want this. And we would appreciate so much if you could help us. I want my garden club to keep coming. We have numerous garden clubs a year that come and walk through our properties there. They park at my neighbor's house and on our house, never in the street. But we are so afraid that in the past, we had the moonwing there. We fought that battle. We had prostitution, we had drugs. It was really bad. Then we had a drug dealer. My daughter bought his house and has had completely remodeled it, which her house is next door to this property. She has remodeled that house. We had another drug dealer down at the end of the street across from my neighbor right here. He was finally arrested. He's gone now. For the first time in a long time, our neighborhood, we have a community. We have a community, and we want to keep it a community. And we humbly ask you to please do not let an Airbnb come in. Oh, the second thought, my other neighbor, Liz, lives here. This neighbor is over here. My other neighbor on this side has already said they're going to petition for an Airbnb also. So that would mean that she has an Airbnb in the knoll. There's 15, 17 houses there. You would have an Airbnb on either side of my daughter's property. She had an emergency in Atlanta and could not get back to speak, but she did write a letter, as did numerous other people, asking that you please consider denying this application. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we have Cassandra Dorsey.
Good afternoon. I'm Cassandra Dorsey. I live at 15 The Knoll. First of all, like Ms. Cobb said, we've had many problems, I mean bad problems. With property number 3 where her daughter bought, it was like crystal meth and heroin house. And one day the police got after some of the people there. The guy ran right over in my yard, up on my deck, and he was trying to ram me, so I had to fight somebody. Then I had the squatters across the street that was coming over with their dogs, fighting their dogs, putting poison over it, soap for real, soap in my fish pond. And short term, bringing people in and out, in and out. It's just too much traffic. And our roads are very, very narrow. We're used to each other, so when we see each other, we know how to, get out the way so the other one can come. People who don't know the neighborhood and don't know anyone in there, when they come, they just sit in the middle of the street and blow the horn and look at you. We don't have room for a bunch of traffic. And with an Airbnb, I feel like it's just gonna bring a bunch of people in and out we don't know anything about and more traffic. If he happened to rent, and I have nothing against the University of Alabama, if he happened to rent for an Airbnb and we get people there, they're going to party. Our neighborhood is very quiet. You don't hear noise until it's the 4th of July, and that's firecrackers. And like she said, we have deers and raccoons. I feed the deer. I like sitting on my deck looking at them. But with a lot of excessive traffic, we won't have anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Cobb.
We live, Nancy is my wife, we live on that aerial photograph in the edge of the woods on the north side. There's actually two developments there. The north side of 8th Street is an old pre-World War II development known as Happy Hours Estate, and then the rest of it is the Knoll development, is post-war. And we have been there 36 years, and we have fought a lot of battles against people in the neighborhood, people coming into the neighborhood for causing trouble and bringing us grief. Now, that's the story of our neighborhood. Problems, recovery, problems, and recovery. Now we're in great shape for the first time in many years. When we first moved there in the 1980s, the neighborhood was primarily older people, and we rarely saw them. There were very few people that ever came outside, but there never was a problem. Then late in the 90s, a lot of those folks died. The community became rental properties. And we got all kinds of bad hombres, as they say today. We had a gang in Alberta City known as ABC. I don't know if anybody knows that. Alberta City Gang. They were independent and they were very bad. And there were days that we would hear gunfire in 3 directions from our house. Not in the knoll, but around and about. And it was very common for people in the neighborhood to start carrying weapons because we never knew what we'd find when we came home. We came home from church one night and found somebody breaking into our basement. And fortunately, he left before I could shoot him. And so anyway, it's been one fight after another. Then we had the tornado. The tornado in 2011 actually was good for us because many of the people that were the bad guys moved. And they moved across Skyland Boulevard into some of the neighborhoods there. And one of my friends was a policeman there in Alberta, and they moved him to that area because he knew everybody. And so the ones that were left in the knoll were good people, pretty much. Then a big focus became the Moonwing. The Moonwing had turned from a very nice little motel into a place where prostitutes worked, where there was human trafficking, and where there were drugs of every description. We actually had a girl named Kaylee. We never got to meet her, but we found her belongings on our creek that had escaped the Moonwing as human trafficking and had lived on our creek for several days. And hopefully she finally got back to her parents. She left some of her belongings there. That's how we found out. Then in 2021, Nancy's daughter bought 3 the knoll and began to redo it from the studs up. It was completely destroyed by squatters who had lived in it for about 2 years. And there was a route from the Moonwing to our west through that neighborhood and over to Crescent Ridge Road where drug mules carried drugs from and to the Moonwing. Now, drug mules are young people with backpacks that do basically drug moving to raise money for themselves when they're in bad times. Some of them were college students. And when the Moon Week closed, our community changed overnight. The drug traffickers stopped coming through the neighborhood. We started getting kids back on the street. The parents kept the kids inside until then. And we had a lady petition about 2 years ago for putting multi-houses in a single lot at the end of 8th Street East. And our community came together and opposed that, and it was voted down. And that was when our community really started coming together. We started having more conversations with each other. We started seeing each other more. And what we really want to prevent is several things. One, disrupting our community, maintaining our integrity as a community. Two, cutting the traffic. Like Cassandra said, the road in front of her house is 11 feet wide. It's supposed to be 12 feet, but it's actually 11 feet because of erosion of the asphalt. The road in front of For the Knoll, where this will be, is wider, but it's still not very wide. I think it's about 20 feet. And we just don't want to have extra traffic coming and going because, as Cassandra said, or Nancy said, when you leave the Knoll going out 37th and you want to turn, you have to turn right.
Mr. Cobb, I hate to cut you off, but your time has expired, okay?
So we're primarily opposed because of traffic and disrupting the neighborhood.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak in opposition or for this petition? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment, and we'll go with...
Does he get a chance to respond in?
Yes, Mr. Garrett, you can respond. Yes, you can...
So concerning property values, and I understand about the drug issues that they said they've really helped clean up. I set a price point, and I'm very selective on the age limits and also the no parking on the streets. There's 2 cars per the driveway, because I do understand you don't, in case of emergency vehicles need to come through, and it's a very narrow area, and also respect the other individuals that live in the neighborhood. But I could only see how this only increased the value because I paid $40,000 more than the average house in that neighborhood. I haven't seen where Airbnb's actually lowered values before. I do understand how it will change a little bit of things. You might not always have the same neighbor, but I do abide by the rules, and I will make sure that it's taken care of. But I am also glad they are concerned, so they'll actually help keep an eye out on the place as well, because like I said, there was a lot of riffraff, and I don't want that to happen as well. And that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment, and we'll go to board comment with Ms. Holt.
I have a question. Several of the people that spoke lived around 8th Street. Have there been any issues with the short-term rentals that are around the 8th Street area?
We do check on that from a 500-foot buffer, and we did not have any
So
noise.
no complaints?
Not from the short, now, can't speak to any outside issues,
Sure.
but we specifically look at the short-term rental violations, and we did not find any.
No short-term rental violations, okay. Gosh, it's always tough as a board member when you've got somebody who wants to do a short-term rental, and they want to do it the right way, and they've got, the noise detectors, and they've got all of that. I'm sympathetic with the people that live in the neighborhood, just because change is always concerning. I get concerned about change also, but ultimately, our historic data has not showed that short-term rentals create any issues in homes or in neighborhoods. And so, for that reason, I'm okay with the 4 and 2 staff recommendations on this property.
I'm a little bit more on the fence on this one. It's a tight street. Over half the neighborhood has either spoken or got signatures in opposition, so I'm a little more fence on whether or not to approve this one.
I am on the fence as well because, you know, by right, the person who owns the home does have a right to be able to do short-term rental because of our city council. But then we also have to look at the culture of the neighborhood, the character of the neighborhood. And I don't know if it fits within this neighborhood, seeing as how it's run and operated, the small streets, and I'm having issue with that because you do have opportunity to do some different kind of renting where you have the traveling nurses a little bit longer, and I don't know about the every weekend, so it's very interesting, this one right here.
As with most of the short-term rentals, it's always sort of difficult for the first one that applies for a neighborhood. And the size of the streets, those are issues. However, short-term rental clears that up because you have to park in the driveway. There's no parking allowed on the street. The petitioner has already stated that he does offer long-term rentals. And just because it says long-term rental, that doesn't mean it's just a 12-month rental. So every 30 days, he can put someone new in that house, and that's considered long-term rental. And with long-term rental, you can park on the street. We can't cap the number of individuals that can be in the house. So in certain situations, your short-term rental is more helpful to the neighborhood because certain things you don't have to deal with. And you can complain or file a complaint to 311, and it's only for 1 year. So if it's approved for that 1 year, he has to come back for renewal. If there are any kind of violations or complaints, then when he comes back to renewal, then he'll be denied. So that's sort of our safety net for these situations. If he gets approved, report it if there are any violations, and go from there. And then after that, he will not be renewed. So he'll be stuck with a situation where he's doing either long-term rentals or he's gonna have to sell the property because he won't have any revenue coming in. So with that, I'm in favor.
At this time, we'll close board member comments. I'll read the petition and we'll vote. ZBA-66-25, Garrett Bullock petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 4 The Knoll, Zone SFR-4, Council District 5. Voting with Ms. Holt.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Didn't pass.
Next case is ZBA 6725, Ian Thomas petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property at 2320.
Jonathan, I'm sorry. We want to take a break. We intended to
take
take a break. 5-minute break, well,
5
6
minute.
minutes. So
Yeah.
we'll come back at 50.
Okay.
6:50. 5.
District 5. Here we have the zoning of the property, as well as that aerial view, short-term rentals in the general area to the north and one to the south. Here we have a view of the house with the parking area. So Ian Thomas will be the primary contact. The petitioner does not have experience managing short-term rentals. The house is equipped with cameras and keypad locks. It is not owner-occupied, and the house will be used by the family when it's not being rented short-term. The house has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The petitioner requests 4 adults and 2 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 4 adults and 2 vehicles. We do have the representative here in person. Do you have any questions for staff?
No questions?
Thanks.
Oh, wait. Tim has a question.
Has this one ever come up before, this property ever come up before?
Yes, it has. It has been previously approved.
What was it approved for?
Let me double check that.
Ian?
Thank you all. I'm Ian Thomas, 2515 Veterans Memorial Parkway, and I'll be managing this for my client. To answer your question, the last 2 owners have had this short-term rented.
What would they have it for? 6.3? What was the numbers? Do you know?
I believe it was a 4.2.
4.2?
Same as it is right now. There is more parking in the back, but we're not asking for that because it's a 2-bed, 2-bath, so. Let me see. We have rules and regulations, quiet time from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Like he said, security cameras in the back. We understand there's no parking on the street, and there's no cameras inside, but in the front and the back, we can see if anyone's parked on the street, and so.
Any more questions for Ian?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have anybody signed up for or against this petition. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this petition? Okay. At this time, we'll close public comment and go with board comment, starting with Ms. Holt.
It looks like this house has been approved for short-term rental before, so with staff recommendations, I'm good.
Yeah, it's been approved in the past, have no issue.
I agree with my fellow board members. He seems to know what he's talking about when it comes to the rental and what we require.
I have no issues. I'm in favor.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-67-25, Ian Thomas, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 2320 10th Street East, zoned SFR-4, Council District 5. Voting with Mary Catherine?
Yes.
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 Petition is approved.
Moving on with our next case tonight. ZBA 6825, Kevin Parrish, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 3721 Crescent Gardens Drive, Zone GPD, Council District 5. Here we have the zoning of the property, as well as an aerial view, short-term rentals in the area, one just in the neighborhood. Here's a view of that property with the parking. Tracy Eaton will be the primary contact and will be available 24 hours a day in case of an emergency. Petitioner does not have experience managing short-term rentals. The house will be equipped with door cameras and keypad locks. It's not owner-occupied. It will be occupied by Tracy Eatman when it is not being rented short-term. The house has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Petitioner is requesting 6 adults and 4 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 6 and 3. I believe the representative is here in person.
Go back, so it's not owner-occupied, but Tracy Eatman.
That's right.
So Kevin Parrish
The owner is
owns it.
Kevin Parrish. So Mr. Eatman will be occupying the house when it's not being rented short-term.
So is Tracy Eatman renting the property from Calvin?
I'll let Mr. Eatman confirm that.
Okay, so when we need to hear from?
We have a designation of agent for Mr. Eatman.
Okay. All right.
How do we decide on the 3 vehicles? That looks like a 2-car garage. Is it because of the bedrooms?
Engineering felt comfortable. Now, as to why they chose 3 versus 4, I couldn't tell you that, but they felt comfortable with 3 being in the driveway.
2 in tandem and 1 on the side.
That's right.
Okay. All right, Mr. Eatman.
Hello, I'm Tracy Eatman. We stand mostly at the residence that we're speaking of at 3721 Crescent Gardens Drive. I heard you guys mention, am I renting from Caven? It's Caven, but he's my cousin, and we are both doing this Airbnb together, but I'm occupying the residence when it's not rented, and I'll be also managing it. We understand all the rules and regulations for renting.
Where will you go when it's being rented out?
I have my mother lives on she lives in Moundville, and my father lives right off Skyland Boulevard. So I have a couple of different residences where I reside when it's occupied.
Okay. Any more questions for Mr. Eatman?
And I also see that there were a couple other people in the neighborhood that's already been approved to do short-term rentals. So I don't know if that matters at all.
Anything else?
That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have Erica Mason signed up to speak against the petition. Okay. Anyone else in the audience like to speak for or against this petition? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment. We'll go to board comment with Ms. Holt.
I'm good with this, with the staff recommendations of 6 and 3, and it looks like there's other short-term rentals in the area.
Yeah, I'm in favor of staff's recommendation as well, 6 and 3, and there's one right next door, right in the same neighborhood.
I agree as well. I don't see any issue with this, the 6 and 3. I trust engineering. They say 3 can get in the driveway, so I'll go with it.
And just to clarify that, I could have looked at the number of bedrooms, but that's why it was limited. I'm assuming if it were 4 bedrooms, theoretically you could get 2 and 2, but because of the 3 bedrooms is why it's limited to 6 and 3.
Got it.
I have no issues. I'm in favor of staff recommendations.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment, and I'll read the petition. ZBA-68-25 Cabin, the name Cabin Parish, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 3721 Crescent Garden Drive, Zone ZPD, Council District 5, 6 adults, 3 vehicles, 30 nights, 1 year probation. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition is approved.
Next case tonight, ZBA 6925, Lauren Lee, petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 802 Richmond Place, zoned SFR 4, Council District 3. Here we have the zoning of that property, as well as an aerial view, short-term rentals in the area. Here's the front of that property showing the driveway. As part of this request, Lauren Lee will be the primary contact. Petitioner does not have experience managing short-term rentals. The house is equipped with door cameras and keypad locks. It is owner-occupied, and it will be occupied by the petitioner when it is not being rented short-term. The house has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Petitioner is requesting 2 to 4 adults and 1 to 2 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 4 and 2. We did receive 2 letters in opposition and a petition in opposition with 33 signatures. I believe the applicant is here in person. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Lauren?
Good evening, Madam Chairman and board members. My name is Lauren Lee at 802 Richmond Place, Tuscaloosa, Alabama 35406. My plan is to give each of you a clear explanation for my short-term rental request due to the level of opposition received. I will discuss my ability to manage this property, as well as my proactive measures and plan to address my neighbors' concerns. I will provide factual evidence of my ability and dedication to not only my home, my neighborhood, as well as the city of Tuscaloosa. I'm invested on an extensive level to maintaining the integrity for not only my neighbors, but for what my home means to me. You see, I grew up here in Tuscaloosa area, graduated from the University of Alabama, moved to South Carolina to complete my first master's in healthcare administration, returned to Tuscaloosa to work and obtain a license to be a nursing home administrator for 6+ years. The Lord has blessed me with this home, and I have maintained it well since becoming the primary homeowner in 2023, essentially sharing a mutual desire to uphold the standards of the neighborhood. To explain my reasoning for this request, I will start by being honest in saying I have no prior experience managing a property, but I do have experience managing many people. And I am currently over halfway through with my second master's degree with a goal to work with individuals who struggle with substance abuse, addiction, mental health concerns, and veterans. The Lord called me to pivot in careers, which has changed my income drastically. To maintain an attitude of excellence and high performance in my current online program, I left the nursing home world and my passion for the elderly population to step out in faith. While completing my second master's, I am currently working at a local school and in the special education department, which is a blessing, but as you can imagine, the income is significantly lower than a nursing home administrator. There are requirements for my internship hours, so I'll be working 3 jobs, 2 of which are unpaid and part-time internships for my master's program. This experience will equip me to be a counselor and a vessel for individuals struggling with mental health. As a reminder, my program is online and my internships are local, which means I will be local to address concerns. My request to operate a short-term rental is to serve as a temporary supplement to my income. It was never done to upset the neighborhood or cause chaos. I apologize for any distress I have caused any fellow neighbors. I am simply acting in obedience with this transition in careers while I continue to maintain a property that I have worked hard to preserve. In addition, there has been no disturbances to any of my neighbors in the 2 years I've resided in this location. To provide some specifics to proactively address concerns voiced and anticipated by the neighbors, first, I would like to point out that of the 39 homes in Ashland Place, there are 23 long-term renters. Based on research, there are similar concerns in long-term renters as short-term renters, which has been mentioned in previous planning and zoning meetings. Research shows some of the most common concerns that neighbors may have are renters with noise disturbances, property maintenance, and tenant behavior. For clarification purposes, the petition signed against this request includes signatures of individuals who are long-term renters rather than just strictly the homeowners. I value their concerns as well, but just something to take note of. It's also worth noting that a poorly managed long-term rental can create more problems than a responsibly managed short-term rental. My short-term rental will include an extensive guest screening process to ensure house rules are enforced and the property will remain clean and inspected regularly. During my preparation, I also spoke to several short-term property managers with positive experience and no reported issues with their neighborhoods with the short-term rentals. As an important reminder, there are 3 short-term rentals within a mile from my residence and the surrounding neighborhoods. To address traffic concerns voiced, there are 2 vehicles requested, which coincides with the number of spaces I will enforce if approved. It is also the number of rooms I have, which would mean that at times I have 2 vehicles in those spots when I am living in the home. So the traffic should not be an issue. The next issue voiced is potential for loud occupants causing a disturbance in the neighborhood. This is a valid concern and one that through cameras for external view to maintain the privacy of the renters and a noise monitoring system will collectively ensure compliance and respect for my neighbors. I will be actively monitoring and available to any neighbors who voice concerns. I will utilize a detailed vetting process, a good neighbor policy, and a short-term renter agreement with specific rules and regulations. As a reminder, I treat my home with quality care to maintain the aesthetics and reputation of the neighborhood, and I expect my potential tenants to do so as well. In addition, I have reviewed the city's rental regulations and ordinances, and I'm fully committed to complying with every requirement. I'm also open to any conditions that the board may wish to place on my approval, such as occupancy limits or parking requirements. I want to make sure this process aligns with the city standards. To plan for unlikely but possible emergencies that may arise, I have created a contingency plan for monitoring and enforcing the rules and expectations. Several individuals that are here to speak on my behalf will oversee the property in case of family, school, or renter emergency. The 3 selected reputable individuals include a teacher, a nurse, and an individual that retired from the university who has short-term property managing experience and will be available in case of emergency. Not to mention with a very large local family that will assist with property maintenance or address a concern if needed, with shared moral standards. Realistically, there are extenuating circumstances and additional commitments that could arise in the future. While I don't plan on that taking place, we are imperfect people in a fallen world despite proactive managing and planning systems. I will still be the 24-hour contact. These individuals will assist to immediately address a concern if one should require a physical presence. I have known them for 10+ years, all reside locally, and will maintain standards of excellence for the Lord, their community, and the people that reside in my neighborhood. In conclusion, I value and respect my neighbors, as well as committed to following the City of Tuscaloosa zoning regulations. I will continue to abide by the HOA standards, which have no covenants restricting short-term rentals, as I continue to demonstrate my work ethic and value the peace of my neighbors. I pray that throughout my presentation and with my references, that you will see my desire to exceed overall expectations while preserving the integrity of Ashland Place. I have mutually vested interest in the neighborhood as it is my primary residence. The legacy of my grandparents and biblical truth is to love and value your neighbors and continue managing the home the Lord blessed me with. I would like to thank each of the board members for listening to my detailed and extensive explanation for their request, and in summary, my goal is to provide safe, quiet, and respectful lodging for visitors while protecting the character of my neighborhood and supporting the community. I take this responsibility very seriously, both as a property owner and as a member of this city. I respectfully ask for your approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Yeah. Any questions? I guess you didn't have any questions.
It was very thorough.
Very thorough. We appreciate that. We have one person signed to speak in opposition, Joe Hargrove.
Thank you for giving me the time to speak, and I also appreciate you responding to my, I turned in the petition and a letter on Friday. You acknowledged that today. My name is Joe Hargrove. My address is 7626 Old Greensboro Road, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I do not live in the community, but I have a vested interest in the community. My parents purchased a home there in 1996. They occupied it until I had to move them to assisted living. At that time, we rented the house out to a realtor here in town. She's been in the house for 8 years. The reason I bought the house from the estate is because I wanted a place to move when I get older than I am now, or at least when my children feel like I need to move, which they're on that part now. I have a large place to maintain, so I wanted a nice community to go to. So that's why I now own the house. I have lived in the community. I bought a house in the community in 2003, lived in it a couple of years while I was remodeling the house I'm living in now. So I enjoy the community. The reason I moved to that community is because it's close to public schools. My daughter finished school here when I moved back. So that's why I have a vested interest. Myself, Cherry, our homeowner, our president of Homeowners Association, and Margaret here, went around and talked to all residences in the community. There's 39 houses. We talked to 30, including Lauren. We asked her why she was doing what she was doing. We understand that. I have no problem whatsoever. I have no problem with long-term rental. There's, as she said, there was 27, 24 long-term rentals, but those are different than short-term rental. My biggest concern is safety of the community. Number one, it's 39 houses. You can show that aerial again. There's 39 houses in that community. There's only one entrance and one exit. And they're coming off of the main road that is installed on a lot of multifamily houses. In her particular house, the house next door to her is owned by Eddie Yesick. He has a tenant in there that requires 24-hour-a-day care. If there's cars, as you see in front of the second house there parked out in the street, and there's one on the other side of the street, it's going to be very difficult for an emergency vehicle to get to the house that has somebody under hospice care. So I'm concerned about that individual. Number two, the house directly across from her house is owned by Hunter Plott. He has a tenant in there that is under hospice with dementia with 24-hour-a-day care. And if they have to access her house to get her to the hospital, it's going to be very difficult, because if you see, you got to come down that street and turn around that cul-de-sac. And it's very sharp radius. That neighborhood was designed in '88, and it wasn't designed for a lot of cars in the street. Her particular house has no garage. It only has a driveway out front. So I'm concerned about cars being in front of those houses, which if you go there at any given time, just like you see here, there's one, there's always 3 or 4 cars out in that street. So number one is the safety, and number one is the emergency access to her 2 neighbors who are elderly individuals with health care. You're in the healthcare business, so you should understand that. Lauren, I have no problem with Lauren trying to make extra income. She's a student working on her master's. I don't think she's a long-term tenant. She has no experience with short-term rentals. She's not an investor. She's looking for a way to offset some income to pay for her education. Have no problem with that whatsoever. The petition was signed by 90% of the residents. There's 39. We talked to 37 of those residences. I've talked to one since I turned in the petition. They are also against it. The only 2 that we could not get to sign, I could not locate. And none of them live on the street she's on. So 100% of the tenants on that Richmond Drive is against short-term rental. Everyone on the adjoining street behind it, if you could zoom out some, you can see there's other houses. The only 2 that would not sign the petition, they wasn't for or against it, they just didn't feel it was right to sign the petition against one of the community members. So we asked, as the community and the association, that you deny the request for short-term rental to keep this community a community of elderly and young professionals with very little traffic, and provide a safe environment for the tenants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Lauren, would you like to respond to his, oh, is somebody else? I'm sorry. There are others that like to speak in opposition.
Good evening. My name is Cherry Williamson. I live in 801 Richmond Place, which is actually right across the street from the house in question. I am also the president of our HOA, which is super fun. So my biggest concern with this whole thing, I live by myself. I'm a single woman. I have enjoyed that independence since I moved out of my parents' house, and now I have the possibility of not knowing anyone who's going to be across the road from me, and that's going to be a revolving door every game day weekend. As a single woman who lives by myself, that is extremely concerning for me. I ask you guys to respect that and to block this from becoming an entrance or allowing this into our neighborhood. I did listen to Lauren's rather extensive vetting process, and that's fantastic. However, there is There's no confirmation or way that we know any future residents who choose to do this with their house are going to be as extensive as she is going to be. Nor is there any way of ensuring that someone who clears that vetting process is going to be as good of a tenant as they appear to be. A big difference that I see as far as between long-term rental and short-term rental is long-term rentals do have a more vested interest in the property that they are staying in because they have to stay there every single day until the end of their lease. I'm sorry that Lauren can't see the difference between those as far as the investment that the tenant has and the location that they're staying at, but I can tell you right now, I took a lot better care when I was a renter. I took better care of my homes when I was renting versus when I'm at a hotel room. As a resident of a B&B, I have stayed in B&Bs. I don't take as good a care as things when I'm there as when I'm in my own home. So that reality is a thing. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else like to speak?
My name is Margaret Powell, P-O-W. I live at 817 Ashland Drive. If you will look at this map, on the other end on Ashland Drive, the other entrance, it has 2 circles. I live on the circle where this road coming in leads straight to it. I have curb space on one side that's this big. It's this big. I have curb space on the other side that's this big. We have a parking problem. The roads are narrow, and I am concerned with safety. I had a guest, when I had my knee replaced, come bring me flowers and parked sort of halfway in my drive. A kid going to football practice in a hurry backed right into Kit's car and ruined it. He couldn't see around there, and he wasn't looking. So you have to be very careful when you back out. There's just not room for me, if there's a car, and this happens frequently, to go around it. We have the narrow streets, and if a car is parked on either side and parked out, it's kind of difficult to get through. With the circles and the islands there, we have a little girl who's 16, and she's a national horse show winner. Her father came to pick her up one day with a horse van. The whole neighborhood turned out to see him because he tried to go around the circle to get out. And it was kind of amusing to watch him try to back up and go forward and back up. There was one car parked on it. It was not on this street, it was on my street. But there was one car parked there, and he was trying to get around it. And we frequently had this. It was funny. But then when I got home, I thought, well, what if Miss Amy, who's 100 and lives at the other end of the block, had an emergency? An emergency vehicle would have trouble if there were people just parking there. And we try to remind them, but with people coming in and out, if that's the 2 people, the 2 cars, that's 2 cars. But we also factor in, I'm blocked in constantly by Amazon, UPS, food delivery. This is a problem because of the width of our streets. We also, with the traffic, have to watch out. We have children here. We have small children. We love all our kids we have small children. We have twins that are on bikes running, all up and down the street. We try to watch out for them. But this is a factor I want to consider. I don't know if I made you a pie when you moved in. I usually make a pie for everybody who moves in. We welcome people. We love it. But we don't need this. We don't need the extra traffic. It is a safety thing, I think. And also, noise concerns me a bit too, because if my good friend Jay next door has a party and I sit on my back porch, I could have a conversation with them too. It's small, and we are considerate of each other, and guests are not going to realize and understand this, I'm afraid. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, we have space for one more person in opposition.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Nancy Campbell. I live at 845 Ashland Drive in the Ashland neighborhood. And I am, sympathetic to the young woman who's bringing the petition. But from the neighborhood's point of view, I do want to speak against it and to make three main points. Most of them will echo things you've already heard tonight. But one of the points I'd like to make is when this, I've only lived there 2 years, and I chose to move there because of the neighborhood. I like my house and all that, but I had already sold the big house. I was renting for a year to look around, figure out where I wanted to spend my old age, and doing volunteer work for one of the residents in Ashland. I work for volunteer work with Home in Place. We support seniors who are trying to maintain their independence and stay in their homes when they can. And this woman was no longer able to walk her dog. And so several of us from our organization took turns walking her dog during the week. So I had the opportunity to walk all over the neighborhood with this dog, to talk with people, meet people. And the woman for whom I was doing the work introduced me to many of her neighbors. Some of them were renters. Some of them had been there for a long time. And over the course of about a year, walking her dog, I came to realize that this was a very special neighborhood. It really exemplifies, in my mind, what a neighborhood is, where people know each other, speak to each other. The people who've lived there longer term, my neighbor on the left-hand side, I think she's been living there, or her family before her, since the neighborhood was established. The people I bought my house from, believe it or not, I have become friends with. That's the kind of relationships that are there. They had lived there as the second generation in their family. The gentleman had inherited from his mother, and they stayed until they needed to move into Capstone Village because of their health issues. So this is a place many, many people come to stay, people who are invested in not only their own home, but each other. I've been a renter myself. I understand there are times you need to rent, but and I do think longer-term rentals are very different from short-term rentals. And so that's making the case for the neighborhood and the importance of preserving that feel, which we really don't have in a lot of neighborhoods anymore. This is a tiny neighborhood. It's two little cul-de-sac streets with one entrance. And I think it's important to preserve that. The second point I wanted to make was that this neighborhood was not built with traffic in mind. Some of the houses have no garage. Some have a one-car garage. Some have a two-car garage. My house has a two-car garage, and I promise you, most people could not fit two vehicles in my garage. If you have two tiny little sedans, maybe. Some of these are zero lot line houses. We are cozy, very close together. If there's something going on, everybody knows about it. And the streets, it really is an issue when people park on the streets, whether it's lawn care people or emergency vehicles or just people having visitors over. You can't just assume you're going to just drive straight down the street anytime you come into our neighborhood. It's often a weaving around or whatever. And I think short-term rental people, especially if they're there for, some exciting social events or whatever, just aren't going to be as mindful of these sorts of things as people who've lived there on an ongoing basis. And after having made those 2 points, my third point would be that I really would hate to see a precedent set. I've noticed tonight, every time you are talking about somebody petitioning for short-term rental, you're very interested in whether there are other short-term rentals there. And if other short-term rentals are there, you tend to weigh that heavily in accepting more short-term rentals. Our neighborhood really would suffer if this became a trend. And I really want, I just really care very much about what could happen. We're hanging on to a really sweet, wonderful neighborhood, and I'd like to see that continue. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone that'd like to speak in favor of this petition?
Hi, I'm Tamara Coleman. I just wanted to speak on behalf of Lauren. I've
What's your
known her
address?
for many years.
State your address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. 12314 Lakeview Manor, Northport. So I'm here to speak on Lauren's behalf. I've known her for several years, and I can confidently say that she's one of the most dependable and community-minded people that I know. Lauren spent much, like she said, spent much of her career in healthcare and managing people. And so I think she has shown that she can manage people, and she's able to manage her property. She lives there. You're not going to want your house to be vandalized by people that come in. She's going to make sure that her property is protected. So I have no doubt that Lauren will bring the same level of professionalism that she did in her career as she will in this short-term rental property. She doesn't take responsibility lightly. She shows up and she follows through, and she does what's best for the people around her. And I know this is killing her. She doesn't want to cause strife in her community, but she does need the extra income. But she loves her community, and she wouldn't have bought her house there if she didn't. So I just want y'all to please think about that and just know that we love everybody else too in this whole community of the city. So just thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak for or against this petition?
Hi, I'm Ashley McGee, and I'm not from Tuscaloosa. I live at 1496 Marvin Chapel Road in Carrollton in Pickens County, so about 30 miles from here. I've known Lauren for about 10 years. We were administrators together in healthcare, and professionally, Lauren is probably one of the most responsible individuals I've ever met, with the most integrity that I've ever met. She's always going to do the right thing. From a personal level, I was able to watch her go through the process of buying this home. This was her first home that she purchased on her own, and it meant a great deal to her. She takes so much pride in this home. This is something I don't think she ever thought she'd have to do. Pivoting in her career, going back to school, and needing this income. She's living in this home and will only be using this for short-term rental when she needs to. This is not forever. I think she hopes it's not going to be often at all. But she has got rules laid out. I'm sure you know by her speech. She has got a plan, and she will follow through on that plan. She cares about this neighborhood. She chose this neighborhood because she's a single lady, and it's a safe neighborhood. So I feel like she will vet whoever comes into this home for a short-term rental very wisely. I know she does not want to be a disappointment to her neighbors. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak for or against?
My name is Jennifer Pinion, and I reside at 13654 Cranberry Drive, Northport, Alabama. I've known Lauren her entire life. We're cousins. What everyone is saying is true. Lauren's the most responsible person that I know. She has great integrity. I also have a short-term rental, and I've told her that, you know, I can be a backup for her if she ever needs that. She's talked to me a lot about the short-term rental. I know we have different rules in Northport than Tuscaloosa that I'm not familiar with, but I know that Lauren would follow the rules, and she's going to vet whoever stays in her home because she loves her home. She has a beautiful home, and she does love her neighborhood, and she doesn't want to upset anyone. So this has been really hard for her to even be here and do this, but it's something that she really has to do for the income right now while she's in school.
Thank you. We have one more spot to speak for this petition. Okay. Lauren, you have the opportunity to respond to the opposition.
I've also listened to a great deal of the zoning and planning meetings in preparation and would like to address the concern that was brought up from similar cases and mentioned from my neighbors regarding the emergency access due to parking. The 2 vehicles requested aligns with the engineering recommendations and would not interfere with emergency access. It will also be listed in the short-term rental agreement, rules and policies, as well as the house manual. And I value the concerns about the elderly. As I was a nursing home administrator, and I have a real passion for the elderly population. So I would be monitoring that extensively to ensure that parking was followed the rules and regulations. And I have, as you can see, just a portion of my family, and there's a ton more that I will be living with that's within 30 to 15 minutes from the location that I could easily be there if needed, and then those 3 backups plus more to come and be in person to mitigate any issues with parking. I am also a single woman who understands safety concerns, and although the vetting process isn't a guarantee, I do have all the proper measures in place for monitoring. As I mentioned, the noise concern monitoring system and the cameras that are facing the front, multiple, to monitor that parking situation. And I can easily be in the area and driving by. In the 2 years I've been there, I always usually just use my parking, and it's usually just me. So I maintain those rules as well. Value the concerns, and I hope my character and these individuals speak for me. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to close public comment and now go to board comment with Ms. Holt.
Oh, okay. I don't quite know where to start with this one. All right, couple of the concerns that we heard, the cars and the safety in the neighborhood. I get that, I understand that. It honestly sounds like regardless of whether there are renters or homeowners in the neighborhood, this is a problem. And so I don't think that a short-term rental is going to compound this issue by any means. The cars have to be in the driveway. If you're a homeowner, if you're a long-term renter, there are no regulations on where your cars have to be parked. I heard a concern about, short-term renters aren't investors in a neighborhood, but Lauren is, the homeowner is. And, I feel like she'll do and homeowners do a good job of wanting to maintain a home, especially when it's an owner-occupied home. So obviously we're empathetic to, what's going on in your life. We can't vote based off of that. So I just want to make that clear that, however this goes, that, I am in favor of this because, like with our other petitioners here tonight, I feel like you've done what you need to do to honor the request, the city's request of what short-term renters have to do. And I don't feel like this will have a negative impact on the neighborhood. So for those reasons, I know that's a lot, I'm okay with this.
This is a tough one. Like the other petitioner that didn't pass earlier, you know, you have so much of the neighborhood that comes out and really, you know, really doesn't want the short-term rental. Right now, this, you know, there's 90% of the neighborhood, at least 90% that's against it. Petitioner gave a great speech. I don't, you know, it's pretty difficult, but when you look at the integrity of the neighborhood, the roads, how the neighborhood is, and you have majority of the neighborhood there against it, it's just hard to approve.
So when I look at this and listen to the petitioner and then I listen to the opposition, I'm sure, you know, when people first started renting their homes, if I was a homeowner, I wouldn't want the majority of my neighborhood to be long-term rental because I feel like that would have a problem when it comes to the value of my property. Long-term renters are allowed to do whatever. They can park in the street. They can put stuff in the yard. They can do whatever. Someone mentioned that long-term renters take better care of their, now that I know is not the statistic that long-term renters take better care of property. I find that, you know, somebody has hospice in 2 of the houses, so we are allowing those owners to do what they want to do with their property, but here we are telling someone else they shouldn't do something with their property to make money, because hospice is a way of making money. Group homes and so forth, we have plenty of people that have come before us with group homes and hospice, and people have come out against that. So, you know, I find that we're okay with some things in the community as opposed to other things. I don't think that Lauren's intention is to short-term a long time. She's honest. I need to make some money while I'm in school. And that's what most people are doing. They're trying to make a little bit of money for whatever reason they need to make it. I don't have a problem with this. I do understand the community. I do understand how you all feel. And I just don't think with 4 and 2, it's going to have the impact that you think it's going to have, because the things that you stated are already happening. You stated if you go in your backyard, there's a party, you can hear it. Well, that's going on now. You know, you just happen to know the person, so you feel okay with it. You talk about cars being parked on the street. They're on the street now. One thing about short-term rental, they can't park on the street. If you call 311 and state that that car is parked on the street, that goes against Lauren. When she comes up for renewal, she wouldn't be able to get renewal. So to me, I don't think 4 and 2 would have the type of impact. I have short-term rental in my neighborhood personally. You do not know. And when it's owner occupied, it's totally different. There are people that can purchase a house in your neighborhood and no one lives there, and then they have short-term rental. You talk about somebody not being invested in your community. So Lauren lives in this house. She seems to be very particular by her speech. I don't think that she's gonna let just anybody be in her house. And to be honest, I don't think she's gonna do it too many more times. When she has the first person come in her house, I think she's gonna be like, this is not the way for me. I just get that impression, you know? But I think at this time she wants the option to see if that's something that she can do. I don't think it's a plan. The way she talks about her house and the passion she has for her house, I don't think she means harm to the community. I know you say if you open the door, if somebody else comes, eventually, every neighborhood, somebody's gonna come and be the one to be the first in the neighborhood. We've seen it time and time again. So you know, this is a long speech, but I'm for it. I don't have a problem with it.
So yeah, the board chair pretty much just said everything I was gonna say. You're looking at short-term rental, and a lot of the issues that we're mentioning is parking. The photo that we're looking at that was on the screen previously, you had a car that was in the road. The situation that was discussed with the gentleman coming in to pick up his daughter, there was a car in the road, and there was a tenant. There was either someone that owned the home or a long-term renter who had their car in the road. So And you think about something like that, you say, okay, well, that's John's car. Let's go knock on John's door. John, move your car. In a short-term rental, you may not know the person, but they cannot park in the street. They cannot do it. And you're limited to 2 vehicles. So we're not saying you just can't park in the road, but you can, just as long as you can get 50 cars in your driveway, you can have 50 people. You're limited to 4 people. We're worried about it being a party house. It's not gonna be that big of a party with only 4 people. So there are things that are put in place with short-term rental to try to make it better for the neighborhood as opposed to a long-term rental, where they may be there for 365 days, like I mentioned before, but there's no cap on how many people. They can park wherever they want, and they can park in front of your house. They don't have to park in front of the houses they're long-term renting from. They can park in front of your house. You can call TPD, and TPD cannot make them move. So short-term rental, in this situation and with it being owner-occupied, I have no issues.
At this time, we'll close board comment. I'll read the petition. ZBA-69-25, Lauren Lee petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 802 Richmond Place, Zone SFR-4, Council District 3, 4 adults, 2 vehicles, 30 nights, 1 year probation. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Petition fails.
Moving on to our next case tonight, ZBA 7025, Will Stevens petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 1212 36th Avenue East, zoned SFR4, Council District 5. Here we have the zoning of the property, as well as an aerial view. Short-term rentals in the area. Here we have a photo of the front of the property with the driveway. As part of the request, Will Stevens will be the primary contact and will be available 24 hours a day in case of emergency. The petitioner does not have experience in managing short-term rentals, but does have experience with property management. The house is equipped with cameras and keypad locks. It is owner-occupied, and it will be occupied by the petitioner when it's not being rented short-term. The house has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The petitioner is requesting 10 adults and 5 vehicles. If approved, staff recommends 6 adults and 3 vehicles, with 2 of those vehicles parking in the garage. Any questions for staff? And I believe we do have 7 public comments in opposition.
Okay, why is this one 2, 6, and 3 recommendation? Typically, it'd be 4 and 2.
Mr. Bowen, can you clarify that
You know,
question for me?
why this is, usually this would be 4 and 2. Why did staff say 6 and 3? It's only 2 bedrooms.
Let me clarify, let me check our staff report just to double check and see if we got that wrong.
Okay.
Because I agree, it should be 4 and 2. I believe that was a
There's a
mistake.
lot going on tonight.
There is a lot going on.
We got technical problems. I saw Lynn, we're good with you, so we'll let him and then Mr. Will can
So
come.
it appears that there is an issue with, the house actually has 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. So there's an error in the PowerPoint.
So it should be 5 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Mr. Stevens?
Will Stevens, 1212 36th Ave East. Yes, it is 5-bed, 3-bath. After sitting here for some time, I realized 10 adults, 5 vehicles is a lot, especially first time. I do have some property management experience. Have a mentor, 2 mentors helping me out with this short-term rental. I live there full-time, just recently bought the house, and I'm excited to learn alongside of them. They live in town, so I'll be staying 10 minutes away from the house, and so they'll be helping mentor me throughout that time. Neither of them are doing Airbnb, or one isn't right now, and so they have full time and capability to do those things.
And you got rules and regulations?
Yes.
Do you have noise
No,
monitor?
but after sitting here for some time, I plan on getting.
Why do you keep saying sometime, Will?
I've enjoyed sitting here. This is a new experience, so.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for Will? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody signed up to speak? We don't have anybody signed up to speak for or against. Is there anybody that'd like to speak for or against this petition? Okay, at this time, we'll close public comment. We'll go to board comment. Ms. Holt?
I have no issues with staff recommendations of 6 and 3.
I have no issues with staff recommendations as well.
Okay, no, I don't have any issues. Go back to the map of it, of what was, go back to the map. Okay. Okay. All right. I don't have any comments. Mr. Rollins, you said you don't have any?
I have no issues, I'm in favor.
Okay. We're going, huh? Okay, so we're gonna close board comment and we're gonna go, I'm gonna read the petition. ZBA 70 William Stevens petitions for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 1212 36th Avenue East, Zone SFR 4, Council District 5. Voting with Ms. Holt.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Petition failed.
Moving on to our final case tonight, ZBA 7125, Todd and Allison Turner petition for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 51 Guildswood, zoned SFR 1H, Council District 4. Here we have the zoning of the property, as well as an aerial view. Here are the short-term rentals in the area. Here we have a view of that property from the street and some of the parking from the adjacent street. As part of the request, Todd and Allison Turner will be the primary contacts and will be available 24 hours a day in case of emergency. The petitioner does not have experience managing short-term rentals, but does have experience with commercial leasing. The house is equipped with keypad locks, smoke alarms, a noise detection system, and outdoor cameras. It is not owner-occupied, and it will be vacant when it's not being rented short-term. The house has, Jonathan, can you confirm that, please?
The bedrooms, again, is incorrect. It has 4 beds, 4 baths.
Petitioner is requesting
Dunley
8
just
adults and
doesn't
4
care anymore.
vehicles.
You just don't even care anymore, Jonathan.
If approved, staff
We're trying.
recommends 8 adults and 4 vehicles.
You notice he did that to you, Lim. All his stuff was right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Todd and Allison Turner, come on down.
I'm Todd Turner, 5411 Savannah Avenue, Tuscaloosa, 35406.
And I'm Allison Turner, same address, 5411 Savannah Avenue. Of course, we're for 51
Yeah, it's
Guildswood.
451 Guildswood.
But our current address, where we reside, is 5411 Savannah Avenue.
We've seen y'all before, right?
We have, yes.
And, okay.
We just didn't realize there was a expiration, and we had some life issues come up with family, so we put it off.
I think y'all even expressed that it was some life stuff, something with your mother at the time or
Father.
something.
Both our fathers.
Fathers or
His
something.
passed away the February before we petitioned the first time, then mine passed away July. Then we had a wedding and a grandchild.
Yeah, a lot of life happening, no problem with that. So now it's just the same petition.
It is.
What did we approve before?
8 and 4.
8 and 4?
Y'all are feeling good.
Okay, all right. Y'all got anything you need to say?
I was just gonna say that we love the neighborhood. It's a family house. My uncle built it in 1970. We bought it in 2011, about 10 days before the tornado hit. And we lived there for about 12 years, moved out to take care of my dad, and finally decided to do this. But high probability we move back one day. Have kids at home, school, not anytime soon, but we're looking for predominantly Alabama games. But maybe a few more weekends. Weekends only 6 to 10 weekends a year, something like that. And that's it. It's not a moneymaker. It's more to supplement the expenses involved in it, but I made some notes.
Okay, so I think that we got it, and so we're good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I don't mean to cut you off. I know you had
Yeah,
a
you're
speech
good.
prepared, but.
I was just gonna say, we had addressed some of the neighbors' concerns. I think we're good there. Plenty of parking, huge driveway.
Yes, okay. Thank you, thank you. All right. We don't have anybody listed to speak for or against. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against? At this time, we'll close public comment and we'll go to board comment. Mary Catherine?
I have no issues with this. Sounds like it was approved previously, so I'm
It
fine
was.
with staff recommendations.
Yeah, I'm good as well. It was approved in the past.
I agree with my fellow board members.
I have no issues, I'm in favor.
Okay, at this time, we'll close board comment and we'll read the petition. ZBA-71-25, Todd and Allison Turner petition for a special exception to allow the short-term rental of a property located at 51 Gillswood, Zone SFR-1H, Council District 4. 8 adults, 4 vehicles, 30 nights, 1 year. Voting with Ms. Holt?
Yes.
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 Petition is approved. We are adjourned.